My name is Pat Sullivan, Senior Solutions Specialist with Profit Fuel, and with me, James Sanford, President of Team Spring. We're going to talk about James's experience going through the Profit Fuel motion, what he liked, what he didn't like, some things he would have changed. Talk about his sales motion. Talk about why he chose the products that he did. And it's really important for me to have my MSPs, the folks that are on, our guests on the call, hear it from one of your own. And no one likes being sold to. We've all been there. We've all had products sold to us, and it's never really a great feeling. So part of the Profit Fuel motion and why I was so excited to have James on is because he can really give you a peek under the covers as to his overall experience from his side and really help uncover the fact that with Profit Fuel, we try to get on the same side of the table with you and act as a consultant, really, and a business consultant to help you organize your spend and really figure out what you're spending money on day to day. And there's quite a bit of savings that can come along with it. So before we get into everything, James, thank you so much for joining me. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got to Team Spring, and then what really makes you guys different as an MSP.
Well, thanks for having me, Pat. I'm happy to be here. My name is James Sanford. I originally started the company as eTech Software back in the late 90s when everything started with an E. And we were a custom software development shop. And as times progressed, those one-off projects turned into, gosh, I've got two young kids, married, new house. I need to turn something into recurring revenue. And so around 2008, I started looking at Kaseya. And this is back when it was on-prem. The VSA tool was all they had at the time. And it fit our needs perfectly. I didn't have to drive around. It was cutting edge for, most everybody else was a break fix company. I was able to start doing monitoring, and I loved the scripting tool. So I started slowly turning that into, okay, that's regular monthly recurring revenue. And then, gosh, we should add some sort of backups to that. And this was back when small business server was prevalent for the customers and market I go after. So after I think a few years, 2008, I had been working full time for the company and slowly have been building it ever since. We are a $1.4 million MSP at this point, and 5 employees. Just made an offer to our sixth. I'm very excited to tell everybody that my daughter is now 26. I started the company when she was born, and she started working for us in January as my marketing coordinator. And it has turned into just one of the most satisfying experiences as a father that you could ever have, to know that your family is interested in supporting you. So I'm very happy to be here.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I worked in my dad's business for a while, but he was a restaurateur and owned his own restaurant. So just the kitchen life just was not for me. Maybe someday down the road, but I enjoy eating the food much more than making it. And it's so nice that you have Savannah that joined your team, and that brings into a whole conversation around succession planning and bringing family in. Sometimes people are so worried about that, right? Because of some of the stipulations or some of the stigma that comes with working with family. But can you really demystify some of those things? Like, tell me about the enjoyment you get and how that really impacts the business as a whole.
That's a great question, because honestly, I mean, last year at this time around Thanksgiving, Savannah had come back from Europe. She had spent the summer there and had left her job to do that. And she was coming back looking for jobs. Or just with the turmoil of the election, there was a lot of instability around people wanting to make hiring decisions. And I had been with Robin Robbins from a marketing standpoint and joined her producers club. And that puts a whole new level of pressure on a business owner that has very few people. That means I have to do a lot of the social media. We published a book last year. We do a quarterly magazine through Robin. And it was just a lot. And we just went back and forth. She's like, Dad, I don't know anything about technology. I've got a fashion merchandising degree. I'm like, you don't have to worry about the technology part. I got that covered. I've got a team that's got that covered. What I need is help, is just organization. Help me with the website. Help me go through all this social media. Give me a younger set of eyes. And in our industry, your generation has a whole different perspective. You grew up with all of this. Most of my customers are older. So around Christmas time, we started really considering it a little bit more and more. And we just decided, you know what? this could work. Let's see how it goes. If you don't like it, you can still keep looking for a job. At least you've got something to do in the meantime, and you're helping me out. Well, I got to tell you, within the first 30 days, both of us felt like this is going to be a win-win situation, even to the point where I think around my birthday in May, she said her other employer offered her job back from before when she left to go to Europe, and she said, "No, I've learned more in the last few months than I have or ever will get to in that industry," which made me super proud. And I think she is gotten to the point where she sees this as something that she could take over, which really makes me super proud. And not just super proud, but it's given me a whole new level of energy to the business. You've been doing something 20 years. I still loved getting up, being here at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, but now it adds a whole new level of excitement. So
Yeah.
I'm happy we're cranking away, and she's helping me with the not only the marketing plan for next year, but the business plan as well. It's a lot of work. I got a lot of mentoring to do, but she's picking it up really quickly. So it's
Yeah,
fun.
that's great. And it's someone that you can trust that you pretty
Yeah.
much know where she's at day to day, right? She's not a
Yeah.
huge flight risk, but
Yeah.
Europe is also, very attractive sometimes to never come back. But no, that's great. And I really encourage all my other MSPs that are listening, if you do have people, friends and family that want to join, if you do it the right way, it
Yeah.
can really be fruitful. And again, you're bringing someone in that you trust, that you already have a relationship with. So if you're having hiring trouble, ask people in your company, right? I mean,
Mhm.
for just the referrals, and everyone likes working with a buddy or someone that they know. So that's great, James. I'm glad that
Yep.
worked out. All right, so we'll get into some of the boring stuff of what is profit fuel and the motions here. So this is my least favorite part of the webinar, but we do have to get it done, and I can't just assume that everyone knows what profit fuel is and what we're all about. So the agenda, we're going to tell you what it is. We're going to show you some real life examples, and then a bulk of this is going to be, again, our fireside chat with James, and then we'll do some Q&A. So, a definition: what is profit fuel for our technical folks out there? It's a systematic method to audit, inventory, and analyze an MSP's stack to determine cost savings, opportunities, and efficiency gains that will ultimately increase your profit. So, that's a fancy way of saying, right? We're going to look at what you're spending today. We're going to show you a proposal on what you could be spending and the different replacement products that Kaseya has to offer. And then we show you a path on how to get there. And that path on how to get there is so important because we know anyone on this call that has been around for even, 2 years knows how much of a pain it is to change your RMM, let
Mhm.
alone your PSA, or imagine doing it almost at the same time, meaning in the same motion. And that's right. It's borderline impossible. James, tell me about your switch over from, I don't really care who the incumbent was, but was the transition as hard as it sounded, moving RMM and PSA over, or what were some of the
Well,
the
we've
gotchas there?
always been an Autotask customer for
Cool.
for many, 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 many years, but
Nice.
we're VSA 9, so the writing was on the wall. You look at it. I had automated so much in VSA 9. I knew your scripting inside and out. A lot of MSPs that I worked with in True Methods and Robin Robbins would, "Hey, can I have that script, or can you show me how to do that?"
Mhm.
We decided that instead of we were compared VSA 10 and data RMM, and I just was just blown away with how capable data RMM was. So not only did we do the data RMM at one time, we did a migration from Galactic Scan over to Vonahai. We've done just a whole gamut this summer of aligning everything, and more importantly, integrating everything so we get those operational efficiencies. So yeah, we did displace a couple of vendors, but for the most part, we were already a pretty committed Kaseya shop to begin with. I've been
Yeah.
very happy since 2008. So
Yeah, and that's great. And that goes back to, I guess, really when we boil it down, there's some folks that come to Profit Fuel just for the cost savings and say, my
mhm.
IT spend is just out of control. You didn't really have that problem as far as IT spend getting out of control. It's more around consolidating the vendors and getting the
Yeah.
efficiencies. And you had mentioned too on our pre-call about Kaseya One. I mean, the fact that, and it's hard to even quantify that as
Oh,
far as cost savings, but tell me about how easy it is, or
Oh,
just the fact of the night and day difference between Kaseya one
yeah.
and then having to go pick and choose between all the
The
products.
pane of glass, the single pane of glass, and once you spend and commit the time and energy to integrate through the various really easy integrations, it's just people just don't do it. That being able to log into Kaseya One in the morning and then just click on, you know what, I've got a meeting with a customer on Tuesday. Let me pull up my IT process and outline what we're going to do this quarter, next quarter, and the quarter after, and then hop over into Datto RMM and help one of the techs with a ticket, web remote into that machine, and over on the right, IT Glue has all the usernames and passwords already stored. Click a button, I'm in the machine within 2 or 3 clicks. Whereas
Yeah.
before, yeah, I had Screen Connect over here, and I had VSA 9, which had its remote tools, but it was, and then I'd have to go to IT Glue or and grab the password, get the password, log in. Now it's just so quick and easy for my techs. It's just streamlined us so that we can get so many more tickets accomplished than we used to,
Yeah.
with the same amount of resources. As business owners and MSPs, it's hard to have employees. You've got a lot to do, so you need your people to be as efficient as possible, so you don't have to really hire more people. I mean, right now, if we look, I think with 1,000 machines that we manage, I think we have maybe 5 tickets open, maybe four,
Hmm.
and most of them we're waiting customer. We do leverage the monitoring in a different queue, though. I mean, that's different.
Sure. But no, and that's great. You can almost, you can't see yourself going back to the
Oh,
old days of having right to do it. And
no.
I liken a lot of this to some of the streaming wars, and I try to bring it on to my own personal, right? You see, it seemed like Comcast and these bigger providers that had everything bundled together, they were
Yeah.
the evil empire, and let's move away and let's get best of breed with HBO and Showtime or all these other things. And then you found, at least for me, anyways, when
Yeah.
I'm switching from the Bruins to the Celtics to the Patriots, whatever, I now, if I'm streaming, I have to log off of this system, go to this
Yes.
app.
Yes.
It's kind of clunky. And so I'm starting to look back saying, man, I wish some place out there would bundle all this together so I didn't have to, and right, and everything talk to each
Yeah.
other. So it's funny how the pendulum switches, right? It swings from
Yeah.
one
And
extreme
that's
to
a
the
good
other.
point, because imagine my surprise when I went to go turn on the Georgia Florida game this weekend, and YouTube TV had dropped ABC completely, just gone. I'm like,
I'm a
what?
Hulu guy now, and that
Yeah,
bit me in the butt.
I
Yeah,
signed up for
last week.
Hulu Saturday morning. I was happy as a clam watching all the games.
Yeah, yeah. It's not as smooth, but still, it's
No.
like the point there is the pendulum of do we bundle or unbundle, and that seems to be what MSPs constantly struggle with. And I
Yes.
really feel strongly, especially with some of the compliance needs and some of these frameworks, you absolutely need to be buying your
Yeah.
cybersecurity best you can from one vendor. And I see it as, one hand to high five versus, the one throat to choke. I don't really love that, methodology or the imagery there.
Yeah.
But it really does. You pick your vendor that works for you. And you
Mhm.
had mentioned too, I want to give a shout out prematurely here. Maybe I don't want to steal your thunder, but Juan, your account manager.
Oh
You
my
hear all
gosh.
these nightmare stories, and if you believe everything you read online, no one would ever do business. But there's
Right.
all these trepidations about, oh my gosh, I'm going to hate my account manager. Tell me about your experience with Juan.
So I met one early, I think maybe, well, mid last year. I can't remember exactly when, but it is so, let me put it this way. I pride ourselves at my company on answering our phones in 4 rings or less, even if it's my cell phone at 4 o'clock at night from a customer or Rocket Cyber calling about a security event. When Juan calls my cell phone, I answer the phone. He's adds value to my business. I've enjoyed working with him. Every single time he said he's going to do something, it gets done. Whether it's helping me out on a ticket that as you get some of these new products, you just don't know everything you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
he's helped by, hey, let me get you on the phone with a product expert can go through, look at your Rocket Cyber setup and see what you're missing that are best practices. Just it's been a godsend. I mean, he has really stepped up. And if you read Reddit, I don't think anybody on Reddit is happy about anything at all ever. But I mean,
Right.
even the Marriott things that pop up are like, oh my gosh, are there
Yeah.
that many upset people in the world? So I'm just very happy with my account. In fact, all of my account managers over however many years, that more than I want to count, have been fairly awesome. In fact, the problem is they get promoted and go over to another group. And so but I'm very blessed to have Juan. I hope he stays there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Juan's
it's a
been
good
great. And
experience.
right. And so you said a couple of the magic words, right? Like if anyone is in a sales capacity on this call, I promise I'll give you the two keys to success when it comes to sales. And it's super easy. It's show up when you're supposed to and do what you say you're going to do when you're on those
Yeah,
meetings. And those two things, right, will bring you into the top 10, 20% of all of your other peers because most of them can't even show up or even follow through. I mean, we've been on the phone with salespeople that say, "Oh, I promise to get you X, Y, and Z," and then they just move on. Like Juan
yeah,
actually does step up and listens to what you're asking, and you can tell. And his other MSP partners certainly love him too. So that's great.
good.
Um, okay, so moving along, key business outcomes. 20% is what we like to say on average we save. I'm seeing, and you'll notice on these next couple of slides when I show some examples, we're seeing closer to 30% these days. And that's telling me that, over the past year and change that I've been doing Profit Fuel, I haven't changed my book of pricing, right? Or maybe one or two products, right? There's been a slight uptick. But for the most part, what I'm seeing here and what this conclusion is telling me is that our competitors continue to drive up their prices, right? And the
Mhm.
month to month sounds really attractive. And if you're just starting out and you're a brand new MSP, I do not blame you for doing or only working with vendors month to month, right? But there gets to the point where you have to be able to plan for the next day and plan for the next year and lock in those prices. And so when we offer these price lock guarantees, right, I think it really shows to the power of what you can do when you're buying everything from one vendor. And if you say, I bought this one product and it really just didn't take off the way I'd like it, we've got 42 other products that you can go back to the well and look at, deploying. So um, the size really helps us become flexible and give you back some of those profits that the other vendors, right? They have to make all of their money on this one RMM piece and they're just one line item. We're able to get flexible and through this profit fuel motion, reward our MSPs that are already buying from the Kaseya stack. So it falls right in line. Um, the keys to success with Profit Fuel. This is a whole detailed list of things that we do. I think this slide it's really important to just know that we do take a lot of time and care into this program. So you're seeing a lot of the detail on the screen, but this essentially is talking about organizing your stack, organizing your spend, and figuring out where we can cut costs, where we can gain some efficiencies. And James, to your point, and we talked about in that first poll question about IT efficiencies and getting things more efficient, IT ops, you leveraging Autotask, Connect Booster, right? My IT process. Tell me about that bundle or that subscription and tell me what's a winner for you there.
And that's where we were. We had already had quite a few of the products, my IT or audit IT, a few of the different things, but we had such few licenses. Was just picking and choosing on who I would roll certain things out to. So it's not just the operational efficiency of having to know that I can get all of my Rocket Cyber for every customer on every machine, but I can also have uh, uh, data RMM for everybody. I mean, it was just such a blessing to be able to go. Not only did you save me money, I mean, if we were to open up my QuickBooks right now online and go to my net income versus cost of goods sold and look at the COGS now for the
Mhm.
stuff for MRR versus managed backups versus managed security. Since we've done the profit fuel, my cost of goods sold have gone down. I can't in my mind tell you a percentage off the top of my head. We'd have to go in there and look.
Yeah.
But I think that's a roundabout way of answering your question. I got
Yeah.
sidetracked.
No, it certainly is. And I think too, when we talk about pricing, I think it's a good time to bring up there's really three different types of pricing you can get with Kaseya. You can get your account management pricing, and no offense
Mhm.
to Juan, but if you just called up Juan and say, "Hey, I want to buy
Yep.
IT glue," he has a set book price that he has to
Yep.
sell from. Then you've got volume-based pricing, which is I'm the big mama MSP on the block and I've got 20,000 users. Cut me a deal because I'm going to buy a bunch of licenses from you. Okay,
Right.
right? We give them a price break. And then this third flavor of pricing really is profit fuel. And that's typically 20 or 30% lower because, again, we're rewarding you as the MSP saying, if you're going to take a chance on us and sign up for a 3-year deal, boy, do we want to not only be able to hold to that price, but be able to offer you additional discounts so that way you go out and buy more. And you can see it almost overnight, the difference in
I,
culture, right? From a year ago today versus today, we've now announced the doing away with the high watermark pricing on certain products, soon to be all, and getting this profit fuel motion, back out in front of folks so they can actually see, wow, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it does actually make sense to bundle all of my IT and all of my security with one vendor, right? The compliance is screaming for it, and boy, does it make your life easier when you just have to make one phone call to one, right? And you know that he has access to all of these different resources, within our company.
I have one more thing I want to
Yeah,
add to that when you talked about the contracts and pricing. People seem to be very scared of 3-year agreements, but yet we're being pushed in our industry. If you want to do it right for M&A, mergers and acquisitions, you need to have 3-year contracts with your customers. I have a 3-year contract on my office condo, right? It goes by like that. And I have never once since 2008 had a Kaseya product that maybe I didn't want to switch out and go with something else that you guys
sure.
didn't make it work for me. If like I used Volscan, but my customer base is a lot smaller than somebody that's really going to take advantage of that. So
Mhm.
I would strongly encourage you to, if you're an MSP, go for the longer term pricing. It goes faster than you think. And if you believe your business is going to be growing like crazy, you might as well lock in the pricing now. I've got, I don't know what our contract is, 1,000, 1,500 agents locked in, and we're only deployed 900. I don't know. But you know what? I know I've got room to growth and I'm going to be selling those. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think people are scared of 3-year contracts because they're scared they're not going to leverage the software as much as they should. And that's a valid concern. But if you go all in, you're gonna get your cost of goods sold down to the point where you're gonna make more profit for yourself.
Yeah, and part of it, James, is just mentality, right? And how you think about it. And there's two ways you can go bring yourself to the gym, drag yourself there and say, hey, I hate this and this
Yeah,
totally sucks. Or you can say, hey, you know what, I'm actually working my body out and making an investment in myself.
yeah.
So same deal here, right? These vendors holding you hostage for 3 years, like that's such a negative attitude towards it, when really they're saying, we're going to price lock, we're going to
Yeah.
guarantee that we're not going to raise your rates for 3 years. How wonderful is that? So to your point, right, you have to be, do you see yourself being in business tomorrow in 2026, 2027, right? And you
Yeah.
have to plan for getting ahead of that and locking in that price now. In 2028, you'll will be laughing, I think, at two things. One, how ridiculously inexpensive the Kaseya subscriptions still are.
Mhm.
And then two, right, I can't imagine the fact that back in 21 or 23, we were actually buying our anti-phishing product from a different vendor that we were buying our
Right.
RMM, right? It's like,
Right.
it's just, I see that
Well, and
pendulum
the
really
fact that
quickly
they're
moving.
tightly coupled together now, I get in my monitoring alert queue, we've got, okay, well, the Datto EDR kicked off and found this, which then got, logged over in Rocket Cyber. And oh, by the way, Rocket Cyber called and let us know that, so-and-so logged in from Venezuela and they're also logged in here in Alpharetta, Georgia. How is
Mhm.
that possible? I've got a backup set of eyes that I don't have to have a person for. So
Yeah.
it goes fast. The 3 years goes faster than you think. 2008, I got divorced in 2009 thinking, oh my gosh, I've got all these contracts. And that was on prem. That was an $80,000 purchase. I bet on myself. So, it goes quickly.
That's great. Um, Tell me about, before I get into this investment slide, tell me about your market in particular in Georgia. Are they reluctant to spend money on IT? Do they see the need? I mean, are they hearing it in the news? Like, what's your market specifically like?
We have a very strong market. There are a lot of MSPs, obviously, in the Atlanta area and Savannah, and in Georgia in general, where we have customers. We have South Carolina, a couple in Tampa, but for the most part, here in Metro Gwinnett or Metro Atlanta. I think the thing what I'm finding is I have had nobody challenge, our pricing, and I think we're up there. And when I get a phone call, like I had a first time appointment yesterday, just a Teams meeting with an architecture firm, 45 users, a couple of on-prem servers because they do a lot of CAD design kind of work. They're in a 3-year contract with their current MSP, 1 year in, and she goes, we will pay to break it because we're not getting the attention we deserve. We understand. I gave her a rough estimate. I haven't been over to their office, but I gave them it's going to cost you about this if this isn't what you're thinking. She goes, that's more than we're paying, but if we're getting the service that I hear we're going to get with your team, if you have 4 tickets on the board and you're managing 1,000 machines, you're doing something right. And that automation goes to that. But we're getting customers that are spending more with us than they were with their current provider without a blink of an eye. And we're getting a lot of good reviews coming through CrewWho about my techs that you've been here more to our office in the last 2 months than our previous provider has been in 3 years. So
Mm,
I think it's about customer service. And I've always said Teamspring is a customer service company that focuses on information technology. We want to be a customer service focused company first.
yep.
And
Yep, and that's the only way
that
to be these
sells.
days, right? Yeah, and Savannah's generation is looking for that. They want purpose. They want to see your values, your missions, what charity you're helping to
Yeah.
support, and it's all about giving back. And that it goes right in line with the more you give, the more you get. And sometimes you
Yeah.
go the extra mile, and your customers will thank you. And you said it. They'll spend more with you because sometimes, James, you get what you pay for. You
That's exactly
skimp
right.
on IT, right? You like skimp on your office supplies, buy the cheaper number two pencil or the cheaper brand of paper. When you're coming
Yeah.
securing your business, don't go to the bottom just because they're the cheapest.
Pat, I use the analogy of cars. You can buy a Ford Explorer. It is a perfectly fabulous car. I have an F-150, a
Yeah.
Platinum. It's a great car. I have to drive to Ford. They could give a rat's hind end whether they call me and let me know my truck's ready or not. Or you can have the Mercedes experience where they come get the car,
Mhm.
bring me a loaner, even my wife's Volvo, they take a video as they're doing the standard maintenance and text me
Yeah.
a video. Here's your brakes. Here's this. Here's this. That's the customer service I want for my customers.
Yep. Yep. It's wonderful. And it's pretty much table stakes at this point, and your customers will find another place to do business, right? If they're not
Mhm.
getting that. And that goes right into the falls in line with just the flexibility. Your customers don't want to have to bug you every time they go on vacation. They don't have to tell you about all these different things that they're doing. You're the IT person, you're that, overarching eyes on the road that can actually see what's happening. And they just expect magically that you guys have eyes on all this now that they work from home. COVID, right? They take a longer vacation, paternity leave.
Yeah.
Like how did you deal with that
Well, I
transition
think
with
that's
folks?
that's an interesting thing because I tie that into quarterly business reviews.
Nice.
First of all, I want to earn their business every month. But the second thing is people tend to you go through this pain. Like I think I mentioned to you one time about my hip replacement.
Yeah.
55, or I was 50. And so I put up for a few years of just being in pain, and you just get used to a certain level of pain that you get accustomed to until at one point you go, I'm getting this hip replaced. And you go through that surgery, and now I'm back to 5K every day, or well, almost every day when I
Nice. Good
want
for
to get
you.
to the gym. But
Yeah.
but it's true. And then so what you have to do is resell yourself because you've now taken all that pain away from their previous MSP. You fix the thing. So when you onboard, there's a slew of tickets until you get the plateau back to where they are supposed to be at the level you think they should be. Then they go, huh, everything's working perfectly. Why am I spending this amount of money? So you have to constantly come in there on a quarterly business review. And it's a great sales tool as well, right? You go in, hey, we did 93 tickets for your team this week. We found that 80% of those are based on QuickBooks or Teams. Can we do a lunch and learn for your team on Teams? It does two things: trains them, helps you not have any more tickets because you've just spent, an hour free, maybe you charge for it. I don't charge for it. You just have to buy me lunch.
Yeah.
But you come back and keep going to visit them. If they're only a $500 a month customer, you don't need to meet with them monthly. If they're a $10,000 a month customer, you might want to spend a little more, show a little more love.
Sure. But no, you've hit the sweet spot too, because I mean, 5 employees, you're just over $1 million in sales. You need automation, right? You need some efficiencies there in order
Let's go with
to
1.4, but who's counting?
1.4 per, even better. So you need those efficiencies, and you're right. Meeting
Yeah.
with your customers even on a quarterly basis keeps you relevant, top of mind. Because let's be honest, and if where MSPs are on this webinar, your customers think if the internet didn't go down and they're just going and signing into all their apps, then you've got your feet up on your desk. You must be on vacation. You're not really doing work. So
Right.
being able to show some of the reports and say, while you were sleeping, since the last time we met, we stopped 15 potential business
I do
email
that.
compromises. And
Yeah.
here are the users that I'm going to bring through some additional security awareness training because they're getting attacked the most. And by the way, it's tax time and it's the
Yeah.
CPA, like those types
Yep.
of scenarios.
I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into a QBR and come out within a month. There's a whole new server project. We're replacing all our CAD workstations, and you suddenly see this bump in your, non, MRR type revenue, but
The non-reoccurring.
project revenue. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yep. Oh, that's great. Okay, so but we're doing great on time too. So back to the commitment for Profit Fuel. There's no cost. You have to commit some time, a few phone calls, right, to help organize things. And we give you a goal. We give you this, regardless whether you move forward with the Profit Fuel motion or not. There are some third-party companies that do this type of audit for a fixed fee, and they're
Mhm.
not cheap. So at a bare minimum, even if you say, hey, no, Juan, not right now, not at this time, you now at least get to walk away with something tangible and a
Mhm.
spreadsheet and an evaluation of what your spend is, when your contracts are ending. And that's another thing too with Profit Fuel. If you tell us and show us, hey, I'm under agreement with X, Y, or Z vendor until June of 2026, we're going to do our best to try to marry up when that billing actually starts for that product that we're replacing. So we really do make it easy, and we try to do it on your time and not on Kaseya time or any goal we have to hit or monthly goal. If you tell us, hey, these are the timelines and these are the months that I want to roll these out, we absolutely do our best to accommodate.
And you definitely did.
Yeah, appreciate that. So again, the benefits, right? There's little commitment on your end, but the benefits, we're getting rid of obsolete products. We're showing you where there might be some overlap. And we know that switching tools can be daunting, but when it's done the right way and it's done with a purpose, you truly walk away understanding that there is a more of a partnership here and a relationship. And it's not just some guy on the phone just trying to sell you more software.
Right.
Okay, so folks, the 4 things that we need for a Profit Fuel, it is not a lot of stuff. You need to know who you're buying your stuff from, how many licenses you have of that product, your license cost, how much it costs you, and then if there's any contract expiration date. If you have those, or at least a good amount of those, we're able to go through that Profit Fuel discovery call. And again, a 1 hour call, you'll know by the end of that call whether or not this is something that you potentially could have cost savings and efficiency gains. So a little bit of time up front can possibly mean, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. So
Yeah.
this slide here gives you a breakdown of the 4 last Profit Fuels that I did. We do have a very large team too. I want to give shout outs to Jesse Forster and Talon and Joseph Golden and Scott, all of those folks that are out there working with our account management team to help drive this. So it's not just me pulling these levers. We've got a whole good team behind us. So regardless who you work with, you're going to get hopefully that same white glove service. So these 4 examples here, I wanted to really paint the picture that we're not just for the large MSP and we're not for just the startups either. This is around the mentality of you buying products and wanting to save money, right? And get some flexibility out of this motion. So this top left one, bigger MSP. I think they're like 150 internal users, right? So they were spending $1.2 million in their tech spend. Our proposed spend, you'll see in purple, is the second line. $855,000 is what we brought their spend to. So that was on a 36-month term. It was a 31% savings. So over the 3 years, we were saving them over $1 million. And I understand maybe you're smaller, maybe that's just not your market. So look at this, the one on the bottom right here. right? Their current spend was 27,000. We brought them down to 22,000. And in this one, there were seven, well, sorry, they had seven employees. They needed a pop of revenue. And so they went and bought K365 endpoint user and resold it to their base. And they did one of those, James. I don't know if you did an opt out campaign or how you got this onto your customer base, but can you tell us a little bit about your sales motion, how you actually implemented this? Or did you eat it as an expense and you're going to do more of a rollout upon renewal?
I think we were already priced to the point where it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We just
Nice.
we already bundle things as it is. So I looked at things like Graphis and some of the by the time I got done working with you in terms of upping our license count and
Yep.
helping with what the pricing one could give me versus what you could give me. Remember, I made my decision within a half hour. Well, I think I made it well during your presentation because it really the way you presented everything to me, and it wasn't just me. It was Charlene that's been with me 16
Yeah.
years. And she even came in right after the call and goes, I need it because I need to do the bullfish training for every single customer. I need to get Graphis back on now that we've seen. Because remember, we had canceled it when the contract ended a few months prior, and it was still active for us. So we just turned it back on with 1,000 licenses instead of 200 or whatever. The way you presented it, it made we would have been idiotic not to go that route. It would have just been so much more of a hassle to go out to Proofpoint or go out to all these other vendors and try to get them set up properly. It was a no-brainer, especially with Kaseya One being able to. I mean, I could share my screen, just pop over and be there. And that
And you're
that
in.
that the company on the lower right, if you'll give me their name, I want to buy them.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Try to make that work. Um, do you take advantage of the cyber insurance fast track at all? Do
I
you
have
use
not yet.
Cysurance?
I have not
Okay.
yet. No,
All right.
I mean, it was over a lot to get over just getting to this point, changing out and moving from VSA to Data RMM and all the integration stuff I had to do. I'm a big traction guy, Gino Wickman, and so our traction organizer, Savannah and I are working that for 2026. So we will be investigating that. It's one of our items in our issues list, but not as of yet.
Cool. Um, I want to talk about this one here to the top right. 40 employees, 10 vendors we displaced on this one. They've moved
Wow.
both their RMM and PSA. It was a huge undertaking, 37% savings, but we got there by showing them the path and the outline to get there. It wasn't just buy the product, now you're by yourself. So we do really try to bring in the right resources, and that's the beauty of Kaseya. And I mean, you said it, James. It's all about finding the folks that you like to work with, but knowing that we're constantly innovating. And that was one of Jim Lippy's biggest pledges as our chief product officer, was to give you best in breed and to give you the lowest price. And you're seeing that changing, right, with now exiting Graphis and bringing in Inky and getting some of these more best in breed products to our customers. So you get better technology, you get more streamlined technology, but you also get that lower cost of funds, and then you can hopefully then make money on that. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see that we're growing and innovating and actually doing what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. So we're gonna bring it to the. I feel like this whole thing has been a fireside. It's been great,
It
James.
really has.
I appreciate you spending some time. So getting back, let's rewind back to the beginning. And I think I heard it was more around, especially for Charlene, operational efficiency, getting
Yeah.
all of those operational tools that you're not necessarily reselling back to the customer, but you're using it to get your team more efficient. Is that right? Was that the number one goal here, was to
It's a little
make
bit
you
of
more
both, I
efficient?
think. Yeah, I think first of all, we've been growing because of the peer group, being in Producers Club. You put yourself out there to other MSP business owners that are I'm in True Methods. I was one of the largest of the True Methods in my group, in my peer group. So once I got to Producers Club, I'm now with a $5 million MSP, a $3 million MSP, $2.8 million MSP. And I only have two that are smaller than me. So you have to surround yourself, first of all, with those bigger groups to grow and learn. And that's what John Maxwell said last week at Producers Club. You have to constantly be comfortable getting out of your comfort zone. So one of the things with Charlene, I've been selling quite a bit, and we're used to not having any stress on tickets at all. And we realize we really need to produce and clean up our workflows and using different tools, especially all based in Kaseya, um, automate as much as possible. So her being able to use Graphis and Bullfish to drop the campaigns, all the training campaigns directly
Hmm.
into the tenant meant she didn't have to go add users. As I told somebody, we're going to have to do a phishing campaign for you because your cyber insurance said so. We
Yeah.
could charge for that. But again, I'm at a premium rate with my customers. I want to be the Mercedes. I don't want to be nickeling and diming them for everything. So the fact that we bundled everything with your team through your help, we already had 365 user, I'm sorry, 365 and ops, but going to user is what really helped us see the value in. We had already seen the value in the other two. It helped her it's just hours out of her day. And here's the other thing that this did, these three SKUs, ops, user, and the three biggies. You know
Endpoint.
the
Yeah.
invoices we get now versus how much time she had to spend processing invoices in the past and making
Bingo.
sure they're going in the right bucket. Oh my God. I mean, I, I'm,
Hmm.
I'm, I just can't even tell you how much more efficient just that billing process and the accounts payable process is now. Your team or Kaseya in general has changed the ball game because I was one of those people that was complaining that this wasn't right or that wasn't right 5 years ago. And that's growth. That's growing pains for Kaseya from acquisitions, right? So the profit fuel solved not only the billing problem, not only the fact that now I've got the right size licenses, but the fact that you were able to get me a better price for that so that my cost of goods sold now is down, right? So I got more time to hire the tech that's coming on starting 11/15. My
Yeah.
biggest positive outcome is takeaway. Let me do takeaway. First,
Please.
relationship with change with Kaseya takeaway. Number one, I have a great account manager who is looking out for my best interests. Every time, like Thursday, I think we have our monthly call. I mentioned something or Charlene mentioned something. He goes, let me get a product specialist to look into that and help you with that. I never took advantage of that before because I've read and heard so much. I just avoided Kaseya
Yeah.
support in general.
Hmm.
Not anymore. I go over to Kaseya One, hit the support tab. I've got an open ticket right now about some alert questions I had in a server monitor. I've had three techs reach out and help me, on it. I no longer have that issue. So that's nice. Um, what would have I done differently? I would have done it a lot sooner. I
Nice. I was
really,
hoping you'd say that.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the reality is, I started listening to the stuff on Reddit about this big evil empires taking over, and well, you know what? ConnectWise bought Axiom. ConnectWise is, I mean, there's attrition through every. It's how you grow sometimes. Like I said, I'd love to take that little small MSP. It's a strategy for growth. I would have done it
Yeah.
sooner. I really would have done it sooner. Marketing strategy, I'm all in on the Robin Robbins TMT. I'm excited about the acquisition because I think that's in fact I've already seen it. Last week they were talking about some of the stuff they're doing in Infusionsoft/Keep tied into Autotask. They couldn't have done that without the money that Kaseya is bringing to the table. I
Right.
mean,
It's more best in breed. And you
it,
said
it
it
is.
that you
It
you weren't
is.
a true peer guy, right? You were more of a Robin Robbins, and now
Yeah.
you get the best of both worlds, and you
I
can,
do.
yeah,
I love the Power BI stuff that True Methods had, but the marketing stuff, if I could run over there and grab one of my magazines and show you who's on the cover of Team Spring Times, it's powerful. You show up. Hold on, let me get it. You
yeah,
show up.
please. And I think I know what James is talking about, where they put your mug right on that magazine, right? And you show
You
big.
show up with your book
Yeah,
ahead of time. Savannah brings it ahead of time. I'm on the cover of MSP Success
yeah,
magazine.
yeah,
I've got
sharp.
Robert Hershevik on one of our quarterly magazines.
Love it.
We've got Mike Rowe on one.
Cool.
uh, Emmett Smith, and I've got a couple more. You show up, with those, and you have PDF versions, and every one of these has an entire testimonial from one of our customers about what we do. That it's just it's game
I smell
changing.
legitimacy there. That legitimizes everything. It shows them that you've actually taken time to market your business and you care about what you're doing.
And that strategy, they look at this and go, oh, the guy that owns Trusted Toolbox did a 2-page article on why we've helped his business grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And attorneys and nonprofits,
Yeah,
it blows away the competition. It just, even if it just does. And answer your phones live in 4 rings or less. That's
I
the
love it.
strategy.
James, you make it sound easy, boy.
It's
But
only
if it
took
was
me
easy,
it's
we'd
only
all be
taken
doing
26
it.
years.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I appreciate the time. I know,
Yeah.
Stacy, you're going to pop back on and close us out with some things about DattoCon virtual.
Yeah, so we do have this DattoCon virtual event coming up. So for those of you that weren't able to join us live, or maybe you did join us live back in October now, and you didn't catch all of everything that was presented, this is a great opportunity. We've whittled down a lot of the main, keynotes, and we even have a Q&A section in there with some of the executives. We have some partner panels in there as well. And it's just a great way to revisit the main topics that were discussed during DattoCon. It's free. Use that registration, that QR code. The registration's free. It's a 3-hour event, around a 3-hour event, but you can come on and off whenever you'd like. So yeah, I just wanted to plug that in case no one was aware. It is November 6th, so it is tomorrow. Any questions, just throw it in the chat if you have any questions, or if you want me to send a link out, I can certainly do that. And yeah, and that's the agenda. So you can see it starts with Rania, our CEO, keynote. We have a MS Peer spotlight, and then it goes into the innovation keynotes and industry insights. So that's more drilling into the product and a lot of the really cool announcements that we made.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, if you guys have not been or you haven't checked it out, it's certainly worth its time, and I think you'll find a lot of value there. So, Stacy, we got some more poll questions to close us out.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that just momentarily. I think we're just having a little bit of a glitch here
Sure.
on
Yeah.
the wonderful
Technology, gotta love it.
you
James,
know, it's
anything
great.
else that you want to say to sort of wrap things up?
I love the technology. Keeps me employed.
That's right. If it worked all the time, none of us would be doing this.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's working now. Yeah, I know. It just takes a second. I think one,
Mhm. But yeah, James, I guess final closing thoughts. I mean, it sounds like it was a success for you. We really appreciate your partnership. And if there's any advice or anything that you'd leave as far as MSPs that might have trepidations about moving forward with this.
I say you just have to do it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you anything other than a few hours of your time. And if you're organized and have a spreadsheet or a tool like Better Tracker, and and you put your contracts in, it made it even easier for us, Juan and I, to grab the numbers we needed, which really streamlined everything.
That's excellent.
It's painless.
Yeah, good. Well, next time I'm down in Georgia, I'll have to go buy you a beer or something. Stop by
right.
the office. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Nice.
One question that came through. This is from Jason, who's saying, James, I'd like to learn how you moved from Galactic to Von Scan. I've been considering the same.
Sure. So the thing with Galactic Scan is we were at the higher level where we could, do the monthly profit, and it's really a neat product. The toughest part is some customers just don't care about the fact that they're supposed to be compliant. And so one of the things that I thought was neat about Vonahai is the fact that I put in a little device on the network, and I'm constantly getting the actual external and internal penetration tests that I can come to the customer and go, this is a vulnerability. It's not the problem with Galactic Scan is it's not a problem. It's just that it's so high level that it doesn't really equate to what I get out of Network Detective / Vonahai, which then ties into my IT process. Hey, we see these vulnerabilities. I've got those dropped into, by the way, they create tickets in Autotask. I've got those dropped into your plan for third quarter to replace that network switch because it is out of date, which then leads to a new network switch sale. So I felt like going back in. Well, first of all, it also saved me quite a bit of money for the 900 or whatever I'm paying Galactic Scan. It dropped my price. I do have to buy a device, but it just it made sense. Now I'm still learning a lot about it, but it helps me tie into tactical. It's strategic and then ties into tactical tickets that are go into a project queue, and that's kind of why I made that decision.
Hmm. And you know who to call if you get stuck, right?
Juan. Let's call Juan.
Juan.
If anybody wants
That's
Juan's
right.
home, I got Juan's cell phone number and his home number if you want me to put it out there.
I love it. No, we'll spare him.
We'll do a hashtag, better
Spare you.
call Juan.
Yeah, yeah. Love it.
Cool. Stace, I think that's pretty much
Yeah,
it, right? Do we have
I
any
don't
other
see-
questions or?
Yeah, I don't see any other questions, just a lot of, hey, good to see you guys, that kind of
Cool.
stuff, which is always nice to see. Again,
Cool.
if you guys have any questions on Profit Fuel, for sure, your first step, reach out to your AM. They can always get in touch with Pat and someone on Pat's team to kind of walk you through all of the different steps to get started. And I want to say thank you so much to James and Pat. This has been such a fun discussion.
I had
I loved
fun.
it.
I had fun.
I hope we did too. And I hope
Yeah.
you guys on the call got a lot out of it as well. Oh, thank you, Pat. Pat's going to put his email in. I'm going to give it to everyone, Pat.
Oh, sorry. I
No,
did
no,
to the
no. You're
hosted
total.
channel.
You're
Rookie
good,
mistake.
man. See, look, teamwork.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice.
So, everyone, you do have Pat's email. Hit him up if you have any questions. And yeah, I just want to say thanks again to James and Pat. A great
You're welcome.
discussion.
My
We're going to have
pleasure.
more of these towards the end of the year and the beginning of 2026. So again, if you're interested, contact your AMs. Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.